Hello everybody, Earth.Otherwise here to continue our journey into game programming in C++, start to finish by Eric Yazwa. In this video we will diagram out what we want our engine's state handling class to look like, and what state classes we'll create in our game will look like based on that engine class. Now, you might notice that I'm using a different program for code diagramming. As you may have noticed, that the last time we used Argo UML, it was giving me some trouble. After doing some research online, I found that most people don't like UMLs, except in certain specific instances, and quite frankly I agree. It often took just as long to create and update the diagram as it did to code what it was diagramming in the first place. So instead we're going back to the good old-fashioned lines and circles in my favorite free image editing software, GIMP. Besides the diagram being hand-drawn rather than generated, besides the fact that this diagram is going to be hand-drawn rather than generated, everything else will be the same. For this chapter, the only new classes we're going to be adding is the Application State Interface class and the Logo State class. It's important to note that an interface class is also an abstract class. This means that it's more of a template for other classes that we're going to make than a class in and of itself. It exists for the purpose of making sure we implement a group of classes in a similar way. In this instance, the Application State Interface class forces us to create functions, update, and render for any class that is derived from the Application State Interface class. In this instance, those derived classes will be main menu state, logo state, run state, etc. We're only going to create the logo state class in addition to the application state interface today. First, we'll start with the application state interface, or IAP state for short. We'll just stick it in this little box. We'll call it IAP state. You are allowed to use abbreviations in this instance because I is a commonly used indicator for an abstract class, and app is commonly used for the word application, meaning applying to the entire application. You would use this for something that is pretty much only going to be instated once per application and takes care of all of this type of thing in applications. So IAP state is a interface for state level application level states, such as our logo state or our main game state or our run state. But it wouldn't be like if in run we had like RTS state and like first person state. Those wouldn't be IAP. Those wouldn't be derived from IAP state because those are not application level states. We would create a different state template for them. And this is going to have two functions. It's going to have render and update, and I'm just going to type in equals 0 because that is that's one of the identifiers for that this is something that is a virtual function rather than an actual. There's actually another function which is init equals 0. I'll just pop up here and add that in if my brush will work. Background. There we go. Gotta make sure you're on the right layer. So doing this means that any class that inherits from IAP state also inherits these and must implement them, otherwise it will give us an error. So now we're going to create logo state, which inherits public from IAP state, and Draw a little box for that. Or a big box, whatever. Let's just say that's the box. So this thing, so all of this is going to be in this thing. And we must do it. So all of that must be in here. And we'll create, you know, some actual code for it in here. But we won't actually like do this. Like this, these will just return. These will just straight up return, because currently we can't do anything you would do in a logo state, like say displaying your logo, playing a little jingle, and then moving on to the next state. In fact, there might actually be a change state class that we might implement later, just so that every state must find a way to change to the other states, or we might just have a way to change to different states in there. It depends. But for now, this is literally all we're going to have. We're going to have these functions in this class and then this class, and we're going to implement those functions, but not really. We're just going to have them return for now. This is more of setting up what we want to do later. Anyways, this has been Earth Otherwise. Thank you for watching.